Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is Audrey, and welcome to my channel and my 100-day project. Today is day 19. Wow. I still have a lot of energy about it, and I'm really excited. I feel like I've had several like mini breakthroughs, if you know what I mean. I know I had a pretty big breakthrough like in the beginning, and then even just like yesterday I had another mini breakthrough, and I'm pretty sure I had at least one, maybe two other breakthroughs. So I would highly recommend, if you've never tried something like this, whether it's something creative like watercolor, or even if it's a habit, like they say, like it takes 3 months to really develop a habit and then make it stick, right? So try it for 100 days. I mean, granted, I'm not doing 100 consecutive days. I'm breaking it up over time so I can be here live. But even still, I think it's definitely instilling in me that regular practice and like looking forward to it and really enjoying every single minute of it, Like I said, yesterday's daisies, I wasn't too pleased with how, a little bit of the background turned out, but like you learn to, first of all, not hate your art, but really see what good can come out of it and what learning growth points could come out of it. So yeah, I learned, and today's a new day. Thank you, Linda. Hi. Hello, others. I know you're out there. If you have a moment, just say hi in the chat. I would really appreciate it. Just so I can put a name to the, I guess not really face because I can't really see you guys, but at least I know who you are. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with our breathing exercise. So let me go ahead and turn on some music and give you a minute or so to breathe. Calm down, center yourself, and get in the right mindset of that we're going to create something today without any pressure or expectations. Here we go. Linda, I saw your comment about there's no failing in art, embrace the imperfections. I couldn't have said it any better. Absolutely. I think growing up, I've really learned how to do that. Now that as an adult, I've really learned how to do that. Growing up, I didn't know how to do that at all. And given that this month is actually AAPI month, which is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, I just wanted to share a little bit about, just who I am and my journey just in the spirit of, being transparent and letting you get to know me. So I am of Korean heritage, and I was born and raised in South Korea, but I didn't live there long. I have a younger brother, and then my family moved out of Korea to England actually for about a year and a half or so when I was 6 years old. And then from there, we moved to the US, and I have lived in the US ever since. I did go back to Korea in 2010 for like another year and a half, just as an adult after college. And then I lived in a lot of different places too, but I've lived in the US or just outside of Korea since I was 6 years old. So in terms of my specific Korean American upbringing, it was probably typical of a lot of Asian Americans where they felt like very much like an other, and we went through a phase. Sorry, I don't want to generalize. I went through a phase where I felt like ashamed of my heritage, and there was a time where I rejected it and I didn't want to be Korean. And looking back, that's kind of sad, like denying a main part of who I am. But that was just how I grew up, just living here in America. Like, it is a wonderful place to live. Like, I don't regret it. Obviously, I had no choice in coming here, but I think just maybe in the areas that I lived or something, there just wasn't a large Asian population. And so, I went through a lot of phases where I hated my heritage. And then it's like swung the other way when I was in the presence of a lot of Asian Americans. And then I was like all about Asian pride. And then I try to kind of come into the middle of like, what does it actually mean to be Asian, but also American, where American is not, it's not a race, it's not an ethnicity. It's a culture. It's a heritage, or not really a heritage, but it's not a race, right? And so we're all mixed up together. And so now that I'm Korean American, I will admit I'm still kind of working through like what that truly means, because I think there are moments where where there is specific attacks on Asian Americans that kind of bring back really hard memories for me. And so anyway, just wanted to share a little bit of that, because last month I did share how in May, because it's Asian American Heritage Month and because I watched that Netflix show Beef, I wanted to share a little bit more of my emotions and possibly do some emotions-based art. I'm still kind of thinking about that though, because I think emotions-based art is very personal, and I don't know, like I said, I did do a lot of that during the pandemic, especially the early pandemic, and I haven't shown that to anybody. It's really just for me, and some of it I even threw out because I didn't feel like I needed to keep revisiting those moments, And so I hesitate to say that I'm gonna do it because it's very personal, it's very vulnerable, and I don't know if I'm ready to go there yet. So just kind of putting it out there, and I also don't want to pressure anyone else to feel like you have to bare your entire soul on the internet, some things should just remain private, and that's okay. And so I think it will be interesting to explore it. But I want to be as authentic as I can here, but at the same time, keep some things private. So anyway, just kind of playing around with that. I mean, I can always paint flowers with mindfulness. I will always do that. So we'll see what happens. Anyway. Thank you again so much for joining. I kind of gave a preview in the community tab, so I do want to paint some poppies today. I don't live in California, but I heard that they had their super bloom, where after that heavy rainfall, like all of the flowers just kind of bloom at once. So it's not just poppies, it's also like there are other native flowers. I don't know the names, and I should have done the research, but I didn't. But so I'm gonna have like a mix of poppy, some purple flowers, maybe some yellow flowers. We'll see what happens. So Okay, we ready to paint? We ready to create? Here we go. Okay, everyone, hi. I, s- I'm still amazed at how fast time flies. Like, pa. um, Hi, everyone. Hi, Keith. Oh, thank you so much. Hi, Rena. Oh, you guys are too sweet. I need to frame this. You know what's cool about this sketchbook is that it actually has perforated perforated pages, so I can rip out this sheet if I want to. So maybe I will frame it. I don't know. We'll see. But you guys are too kind. Oh, I like your question, Keith, to Linda about, painting along with me or just watching. Yeah, Linda, I'm glad that you do paint some nights and then sometimes you just watch me. So I'm sure there are a lot of you out there that are kind of doing both. Yeah, sometimes you're watching and sometimes you're painting your own thing. Sometimes maybe you're painting along with me. Like either way, thank you so much for, joining. And like the whole point is not just to, join me, it's really to give yourselves time to be creative. And I think that's what's most important. Like we don't take enough time to do that, and we let the busyness of life kind of consume us and dictate our schedule. And I do understand that there are certain circumstances where you do have to be, present. Like perhaps you're a caregiver, maybe you have really young kids. And so I don't want to diminish those responsibilities. I'm not saying you're not creative if you don't make time, but I think, when you can have that kind of freedom, like you just don't know what could happen, and so if it helps, reach out for help. I think that's another thing that Asians especially have trouble with, and I don't know about just other ethnicities, but Asian people for sure don't like asking for help. Like we can't admit that we need help. We're like allergic to help. Yeah. We're allergic to help. But yeah, like even asking someone else to watch your kids for like an hour while you take some time to paint, or like run to Target for inspiration, or, go to Barnes and Noble and flip through some books, like whatever it is, I don't think there's any shame in asking for help. So, and taking time like this is so important. So yeah, whether you're just watching or painting along, thank you for taking care of your inner creative soul. So I think my paint is like mostly dry. So I'm going to go ahead and do the paint peel. That's my favorite part. I didn't heat it up, but I did use a different washi tape and it's slightly less tacky. So I'm hoping that there won't be any issues. But again, I'm okay if it kind of rips off the paper a little bit. Like, it's just a sketchbook. Now, if it were an actual work of art, like it is going to be framed. Oh, there's so much bleed happening here. That's okay. If it was an actual, like painting that I'm going to frame, or it was for a commission, then I would actually use artist tape instead of washi tape. Because washi tape, depending on the brand or the manufacturer, you'll get lots of different levels of tackiness and how it reacts when it's wet or heated or etc. So it's just best to, go with what's standard in the art industry and go with artist tape or painter's tape so that you don't get any of that, ripping or residue or peeling or bleed or anything like that happening. So anyway, there it is. I love the purple with the orange. I will admit, I think if there's one criticism I had to say about this painting is that I think I did too much purple, just a little too much. And that's why I ended up adding a couple more smaller poppies in the background, because I felt like I should have added more poppies to the foreground, but I felt like these 5 poppies that were supposed to be center, like to take center stage, kind of got its attention taken away because of all of these purple flowers. So got a little carried away. I think if there was one way to kind of fix quote unquote this, or if I were to redo it, I would, maybe keep the same composition, but then make the purple flowers a lighter value, because it's the darkest value in some of these purple flowers, it's kind of competing with the poppies, right? But if it's a lighter value, it kind of has that effect of receding into the background, and they won't be competing with the poppies. But I do like the brightness, because then I feel like I'm immersed in this landscape, in this super bloom. So I guess that's one thing that's going for me. All right, Keith, great question. Is artist tape a lot more expensive, or are you just using stuff you have on hand? Yes, so I'm using washi tape. So washi tape is just decorative tape like this. You can buy it on Amazon, Michael's, any craft store. So these tend to be low tack because people use them in books and journals, etc. But again, like I said, there's a variation, or there's a spectrum in terms of tackiness. So artist tape, you can also get at any art store. It basically looks like masking tape. Like, that's basically all it is. It's not that expensive, I'm pretty sure it's affordable. And because you only use a little bit at a time, I guess, unless you're painting very large paintings, you shouldn't have to buy too many. But obviously there are different widths available too. Like, there are some that are a lot wider and some that are skinnier. So yeah, and I'm sure you can buy it off of Amazon too. I just usually find it at the art store. So yeah, just look for artist's tape, and it's usually like that pale beigey, sometimes white color, and then painter's tape is typically blue. Yeah, there's also something called, frog tape? Frog tape. I feel like when I was painting my room, someone suggested frog tape, and that's usually green. So lots of different options out there. I feel like this maybe should be another video, so we'll see. Anyway, Linda, good to know. It costs more than masking tape. Yeah, I would expect that, but I don't think it's completely like out of our price range. It's not going to be like $30 a roll, right? But it'll definitely, probably be more than masking tape. I do agree there. So, okay. All right. So let's take a moment to kind of admire what we've done. And yeah. Oh, you know what? I forgot yesterday too. I did it on my own, but I forgot yesterday. Look at this gross water. I forgot to wash out our brush and then blot and then do our breathing exercise. So let's do that real quick. Okay, so breathe in and then out. By the way, someone commented on my other live the other day about dipping your cheap brush for masking tape, dipping your brush in soap first. And you guys, it worked. So I didn't have a bar soap, but I did have liquid soap. So I literally just, you can kind of see it's that greenish liquid soap. I literally just coated my brush in that. So that's what I was doing at the very beginning. And then I dipped it in the masking fluid and it worked. I'm so happy. So, and look how clean this brush is. Like, look how clean that is. So yay. So thank you, Tammy. Tammy had left a comment on the other live the other day. So, all right, so now let's take a minute to admire what we've done. And then I have some closing remarks. All right. Well, thank you again for joining me. Here is, you guys. Okay, so I'm really liking these floral landscapes. So part of my closing remarks was going to be I want to explore more of this. And this kind of leads into the breakthrough that I had yesterday, and kind of starting from this day 17 now, right? And then day 18, I really want to learn gouache. So if you don't know what gouache is, it's a type of watercolor, but it's opaque. So watercolors are known for its transparency, right? Gouache is opaque, so it has like you can layer lighter colors on top of it. It has a lot of graphic designers use it. A lot of illustrators use it, and sometimes it has like a matte finish, so it works a little bit differently. But you can also water gouache down to look like watercolors and be transparent. So anyway, all that to say, I think I might try gouache during this 100 days. I know it's 100 days of watercolor mindfulness, but you know what? Gouache is a type of watercolor, so that's okay. I make my own rules here. So, and then the other kind of mini breakthrough that I had yesterday was like I had been thinking about, that floral style. Remember that from a while ago? Like this one, where I had like, different random colors, and, I was really inspired by this, and I was excited to paint in this way. But through my own painting times and through, I don't know, just like talking with other people and just like my own research time and the videos that I watch on YouTube, I found myself like wanting to paint like someone else. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to say like you can't follow someone's style or, something like that. But I found myself feeling like I needed to paint like that. And instead of letting my like natural curiosity kind of drive me, I felt this tension of like, I need to learn how to paint like that because that's what's trendy right now. And to be honest, because this is a business for me, even though I don't make money off of YouTube yet, there's always going to be that pressure of like, what's next, versus what am I really passionate about in this moment. And so I feel like this 100-day project is teaching me how to let go of what other people might expect of me and what I'm putting on myself, and rather, like doing what actually makes me happy. I know that sounds so cliche, but it's so true, and I feel like I lost that a lot like during this business. When I first started back in 2016, 2017, like all I did was loose florals because I loved it, and other people were so attracted to me because they could feel they could feel my love for loose florals. And I feel like my style is changing a little bit, where I want to be even looser, but I want to be more, I don't know really what the word is. Maybe graphic is the right word, where it's like very simple, like illustrations. Maybe illustrative is the right word that I'm looking for. Not necessarily graphic, but illustrative. And so something like this, where I use different, media to, create texture and lines, and then, creating scenes, but it's very loose, like this is actually what's really motivating me and getting me excited. And this is nowhere close to what the artists that I was following are doing, There are other artists who do this, I know, but I felt myself let go of that pressure of I need to paint like these people because that's what's popular right now, So yeah. Gouache is definitely watercolor family for sure. Oh, Linda used a Winsor & Newton gouache. Yeah, I mean, that's designer gouache from Winsor & Newton is probably one of the best. I'll admit I haven't tried a lot of different brands. Because I'm a Jerry's Artorama brand ambassador, I do use the brands that they give me. And so that includes the Lucas brand, which is the watercolors that I use. And they have a gouache and acrylic gouache line. So I'll be using mostly that. I did purchase a Holbein Studio gouache for myself. It was quite expensive, but I know Holbein is definitely a top gouache manufacturer as well. Yeah, Rena. Yep. You want to explore illustration too. Yeah. I think that's what I'm really leaning towards. And even like as I think about, like I mentioned yesterday, like maybe a coloring book or, doing kids watercolor, I feel like I'm okay with just painting little illustrations. I think part of me always felt like, no, you got to go big and you got to paint, bouquets, you got to paint all these like huge things. And that was just a pressure that I was putting on myself. Just because I saw other people doing it didn't mean that I have to do it. And so I'm feeling more and more comfortable doing smaller things or doing illustration or like single illustrations or doing a very simple landscape like this, and it doesn't have to be like 8 by 10. It's okay if it's 5 by 5. So yeah, again, I'm just being very raw and honest with you right now. And because this is live, I am trying to, trying to like be careful of what I say, because once I say it, it's out there. But yeah, I think as an artist, you go through these evolutions of where, you feel like you want to try something, but you either don't see it out there and so you're scared to do it, or you do see it out there and so now you feel like you got to be better than them. So I always think about, when I think about artists and styles, I always think about Picasso, because if you were to compare one of his first early paintings versus what he was creating at the end of his life, like you would not think that they were from the same person, right? And so yes, I know that styles evolve over time, circumstances will change you, and that's going to inform your style. And so I think I'm starting to now like really embrace it. So just wanted to be honest about that journey too, and that this 100-day project is teaching me so much. I think I'm definitely going to do some kind of recap once I get to day 25. So we'll see. Anyway, thank you so much for sticking with me this long. I try not to talk too much, but I really enjoy talking to you guys. So I don't know. Okay, so let's see. Next week, so I'm not going to be live at all the rest of this week. I have a pretty packed week and weekend. Next week, I'll be live Monday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, so Monday the 8th, Thursday the 11th, and Friday the 12th. I also have 3 watercolor workshops next week, and so that's why I have to take a break on Tuesday and Wednesday, but Monday, Thursday, Friday. Okay? Thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait to see what you create. You can use hashtag Paint with Audrey and tag me at Audrey Rod Design. If you really appreciate what I'm doing and want to show your support, you can head to this link right here, ko-fi.com/Audrey Rod Design, and buy me a coffee. Thank you again so much. Have a good night. Bye.